one, but what is happening? We're now live. Oh my goodness, so excited. We are here right now with Samantha Blossom Brown. I'll do a little Samantha Blossom Brown. She's the greatest coach in town. She helps people with their money codes, helps them ascend to their natural power. Samantha Blossom Brown. That's it. That was a quick little ditty for you.
I'm digging.
So for anyone that's watching right now, we have no one, but that's okay. We're going to go anyway. We're here with Samantha Blossom Brown. She's an extraordinary coach that uses manifestation as well as body work to help people transform their lives and become their greatest selves. So I want to open it up to you. We got Josh here. Oh, there are people here. Maybe this dial's just not right. So I'm going to open up the floor to you to kind of just share about your journey, how you ended up becoming a coach, and what you do to help people.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michael. And thank you for that beautiful song. Love it. So let me see. I mean, I feel like my whole life has been this journey, but let's just kind of speed up to, I studied acupuncture and Chinese medicine in Shanghai, China for 6 years. Wow. And, but yeah, maybe I will go a little bit back. When I was 9, I had extreme allergies. Like I was allergic to 40 different things. And there was just like, I felt like I had tried everything. And then finally, like to the point where we went to this allergy specialist and I had to take a shot every week. And then my grandma was like, oh, this is like not working. Even a year out, then I ended up being allergic to 80 things instead of 40. So then my grandma was like, oh, let's just take you to the herb doctor. And so I took herbs for a month and then it was like all gone. And I was like, why didn't I start here? So I think that was kind of what kind of started my passion with like learning about like natural medicine and alternative medicine. And I would just spend my free time at the bookstore reading up on like astrology and herbs. And like, I just kind of like spent my whole life kind of doing that. But my mom was like, well, what if you want to do pre-med? So I took all my pre-med classes and I did biochem as my undergrad. But then I was like, no, I still want to do Chinese medicine. So I ventured into Shanghai, China. And the pollution there was so bad. I ended up like coughing blood for 3 months where I was like extremely sick. Like it was like, you turn on the water and it's like yellow water coming out. It's like pretty bad there.
That's pretty bad.
It was pretty bad. So I felt like I had tried everything at that point. Like, so I tried Western meds, I tried acupuncture, I tried herbal meds, and like nothing was working. And finally, my friend recommended like this energy healing, which I had never experienced before. And I went and had an energy healing session and I felt like these waves flow through my body. And very shortly after, I was just feeling great. And I was like, what is this? So when I like found out about that, I was just like, I need to learn everything about energy healing. So luckily there was a space called Frankincense. And I studied with like teachers that would fly in from like Ireland, Australia, like Singapore, Japan, just like kind of like all over. And so I just kind of like immersed myself into like studying like energy medicine, which then I realized like, oh my gosh, it's like my thing, but it was great because like I got to take all my background of like Chinese medicine and like understanding like the meridian system and the chakra system and all that stuff, and then kind of like blended in with energy healing. So that's kind of my journey in a nutshell. And so like in my practice, like I've been doing this for 13 years. I've seen cancers dissolve. I've seen people's bones heal, like that were broken, like heal in 2 weeks instead of 8, like really crazy things. But right now I'm kind of focused on like money manifestation, business manifestation, because I love supporting leaders and them like amplifying their dream and doing it in a really fun way. So I've had clients that went from like $100 sessions to making like 180K in like 4 months. I've had people just get off the table and get like 20K in like funding. I've had people that had like lawsuits that were supposed to be over 100K, like in 1 week clear out to 3K. So like, so basically like I kind of shift, like I feel like I'm really good with the physical body, but I've kind of shifted into this arena of playing with like money manifestation and business manifestation. And like, from my perspective, it doesn't matter like what you're manifesting or creating, like it's all like the same energy field, So
Wow. So what an extraordinary journey.
yeah.
What an extraordinary journey. Oh my goodness. So basically it started from a place of like trying to heal yourself,
Oh yeah,
kind of,
absolutely.
and then kind of you were like, how do I do this for other people? And then you kind of discovered this whole way of working with people,
Hmm.
and then you just continued down that path, and then now you have helped people with physical things, with mental things, with monetary things, and now even more moving towards money and manifestation.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of funny because when you get to this point, you're just like, "Ah, everything's so simple, but like we've complicated things so much. So like I feel like I had like a really complicated, like complex brain because I was like undergrad in biochem and then like Chinese medicine. So you're like diagnosing and you're kind of like, what's the problem? But then when you understand manifestation, like when you focus on the problem, you're creating more problems because because you
Mm,
always get what you're asking for from the universe. You're getting what you focus on, right? So let's say someone's like in their business and they're like, how do I create the strategy to get to this place? But their energy is so focused on the strategy, so they just create more and more strategy instead of them
mm,
focusing on like, well, what is it that I really want to experience? Like they're not focusing on the end goal. Like they're not focusing on like, how do I feel already receiving that thing that I think that I want? Because that's how you surpass, like that's like the cheat codes of the universe, like the hacker codes of the universe, right? It's like you embody the vibration first, and then that thing, like the universe knows the fastest way to take you to that thing.
mm. Okay.
No,
I want to back up just one level.
yeah.
Can you just explain what is manifestation?
Yeah. So we're used to seeing things in 3D. This is our 3D physical material world, right?
Mhm.
And by the time it gets to 3D, like the particles are really dense, right? So the thing is, something is created first from a thought, from an idea. The idea is like a tiny electrical circuit of energy, and like you keep building it up and creating it. So first, when you have that idea, you're like, ooh, I want to create this much money, or I want to create my business, or I want to create super health, or I want to create this relationship. Like first, it's an idea, and when you really fine tune your vehicle, you'll feel like you have the idea, and it's like the electrical circuits in your body start to shift and change. So let's say if you thought you were really confident, like then you start to like hold yourself in a different way. And if you think you're really confident, you hold yourself in a different way and you send like electrical circuits out to the universe, like sending a different message out to the universe. And so the universe starts to like rearrange the particles so that you start to like manifest or create that thing that you want. So the hard part is just like maintaining that vibration to maintain the vibration, cuz like people will be like, I want this, I don't see it happening, it's not happening, and then they stop thinking about it. So to think about it in this way, it's like most people think about things like here's point A and like here's point B, and you're just like, yes, I'm getting closer. Oh, I'm not getting there. Oh, I'm getting closer, and so it's like you waver. But if you were to just keep following your joy and your passion, you would just keep going to point C, which is like where the universe wants to take you. So it's like it's so good, you just like have no idea what it is, like because it's not comprehensible to your mind, right? But if you just keep like from every moment, like every present day, you just power up your energy field. You're like, how can I feel better? What can I do that feels even better? What can I feel that's like even more awesome? And then you just like keep moving towards this like accelerated rate of light, and you just move towards this point C, but it's the unknown, right? Your brain can't even create it. It doesn't even know what it's going to be like. But like that's how fast you can move when you're like in manifestation mode. It's a feeling that you're wanting to like cultivate into physical reality.
Got that. Awesome. So if you're just watching right now, we're on here with Samantha Blossom, and you can get in contact with her if you want to find out more about how you might be able to work with her. Connect with her, facebook.com/Samantha Blossom Brown. And if you're on here as well, go ahead and drop a hashtag money codes. And I want to say hello to Joseph Emmanuel. Yes, there was definitely a mic drop. Lawrence is here. Muzamil seems to be here as well. So go ahead and drop that hashtag money codes. And Samantha's going to share a little bit about that, a new project that she's working on right now. But we're going to talk about it in a little bit. So hang out. We're going to continue talking about manifestation. If you have questions, drop them in the comments because we're definitely going to answer some of those later as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So, okay, so that's manifestation. It's really, it's living inside of that feeling that you want to achieve towards, and then raising your vibration to that point C that the universe wants for you.
It's basically, you think about like the whole universe is like in ones and zeros. Like it's like either open or closed, right? So it's like when there's connection that's being created, that's when there's energy flow. So for instance, like if you're not attracting a client, that means there's a self-defense mechanism somewhere, like something's closed in the circuit. So when you want to manifest like money, you want to manifest clients, you want to manifest your lover, your new house, your new car, like if all of your beliefs are, yes, I can have this, this is simple, this is easy, it's like all of your circuits are open and you can like easily attract that thing. But if you have like a tiny background story that's like, I have to work really, really hard for that house, it's going to be hard for me to make that money. Like it's so hard to attract a client. Like any of those things, like those are creating micro contractions in your system, and it slows down the flow, which creates separation and disconnection between you and that thing. So it's kind of like you're closing off the circuit. So it's like at the end of the day, it's like everything is you. We're all made of the same energy material, but we create these stories like this is difficult and this is easy to create. And so then we create that path of like this is easy and this is hard, right? So I feel like my job is to go inside, look at the rules that you've set up in your system, whether it's in your business or in your mind or whatever, you know, wherever that program is running. And it's like I'm taking you from like a PC and like converting you into a Mac. Hopefully people like Macs. But anyways, but you know, so it's like getting your system to run a lot faster. But you know, so it's like that things are like, you know, for instance, just like the belief system of like, oh, I could be making money when I'm sleeping, or like clients find me even when I'm in play mode, even when I'm like joyfully playing, my energy is so good and so awesome that like people find me, that clients find me, right? But if you have a program in your mind that's like, I got to work really, really hard to get that thing, then it's like that's going to be the rule that you set up for the game that you're playing. You're always going to have to work really hard for that thing because that's the rule you set up for yourself.
Yes, I understand. That's a great method. And Lauren says it's like if you feel you can't do it, then you can't, right?
Yeah, because the thing is, the universe will always give you exactly what you're asking for. So, for instance, like, let's say you were like paying for a coach. You're like, oh, I'm paying for this coach, and now I'm like losing this money. Then, like, the universe is like, okay, your wish is my command. That's your intention. So it's like you pay for the coach and it didn't work, right? Or if you're like paying for a coach and you're like, oh, I'm so excited to pay for this, and like I know I'm going to get a huge like a return on investment, then it's like then that's what will happen because that's what your intention field is. Or like let's just go really simple with like utilities or gas, or like let's say you're filling up your gas tank and you're like, oh, I'm paying for this gas and now I just lost this money. Then the universe is like, okay, you just lost this money. You know, if you like pay for gas, and me and like all my friends have tried this out, we're like, I'm going to pay for gas and I'm going to like make 3 times that amount just like out of nowhere today. And then like it just kind of like comes in, you know? So it's like you're constantly setting up these like little programs of like, how does the universe like speak to you, communicate with you, and mirror things back to you?
So I got that. So it's all about what you're internalizing into the universe, externalizing into the universe, and setting intentions. And I asked what manifestation is, but now what is intentions and how do you set them for yourself? Because it sounds like we already always are having these thoughts that are going through our minds, right? So how do you get out of the thoughts that maybe don't serve you? And then how do you get into the intentions that do serve you?
So the idea usually starts from a desire. So your heart, your feeling emotion is going to be like, oh, I really want that. I want that new puppy. I want that new car. I want that new lover, whatever it is, right? So the heart brings that out. And then you want to create a heart and brain coherence. But your brain's like a recorder. So it has all these like thoughts and beliefs of like things that you've experienced. And it's kind of designed to protect you. So what you want to do is like you want to make a list of all the negative thoughts, just like write them all down so that you can see this is what your operating system is like right now. Like and be brave, just like look at it and just know that you're kind of like looking at old files to delete them, right? So it's like you're writing out all the old code from your brain and you're spewing it out and you're just like, dude, like this is why I can't have this thing. This is why I'm set up programmed to not have this thing. And like you just write it all out, and you can even write the question of like, let's say you wanted to manifest like an extra $10,000. No, let's say like $100,000 this week. And then write like why you think you can't. Cause you might be like, oh, it's going to be really hard. Or like, I'm going to have to work really hard for it. Like, you have to write out all your programs of like why you don't even want this thing. Right. So you kind of look at,
Oh,
does that make sense?
yeah, it does. I want to pause right there because that was a gem and I want to make sure everybody heard it.
Yeah.
So you have the intention of whatever you want to achieve in your consciousness.
Yeah.
And then you ask the question, why won't I be able to do this?
Yeah.
To
Why?
discover all of the, yeah, why don't I want this? To discover all of the things that are in the way of
Right.
you actually putting that intention properly into the universe. Okay,
And then
cool. Go on.
and then you're gonna see like those are all the tiny micro vibrations holding you back from magnetizing that thing that you want. Because from the cosmos perspective, it's like, oh, you want that thing? I want to give it to you right away. And the universe is like, oh, I'm trying to work around your resistance to bring that in. So our job is to kind of shut off all the resistance, right? So the only way for you to know what the resistance is for you to take a really deep look at yourself and not take it personally because it's most likely not your own belief anyways. It's either like ancestrally passed down, collective consciousness. It's just what you've seen on TV. It's just like what you've experienced over and over. For some of you that are more open, maybe it's past life, so it's like, so you just like, you write down like all the tiny little micro anti prayers or anti manifestation. It's like an energy that's flowing in the opposite direction of what you're trying to attract. And then you cross it out and then you write the new code. So now the practice is embodying the new code because you're like, $100,000 is going to be really hard for me to create. Then you write like, oh my gosh, it's so easy for $100,000 to find its way into my bank account. And then you'll feel the speed at which that true prayer comes through, that true intention, that true energy field, because like you'll feel really good when you're saying that thing. But if you say that thing and you don't feel really good, there's still a layer of a belief under there that needs to be crossed out and needs to be looked at because that's the part of your system that's like, that can't be true. It's not safe. I don't believe it. And so you have to like go in and look at that and turn off that alarm system.
Huh. Okay. Got it. Thanks. That is so cool. I think,
Maybe they meant Samantha.
yeah, maybe they meant Samantha or maybe they're talking to me. I love your energy. So my experience, my association affects me a lot. Is that your experience?
Ooh,
So
I like this one. Keep going. Sorry.
that's a good question.
So this is what.
No, I was gonna say like,
We're glitching. Can't.
okay. Well, while we take that little brief pause, we're gonna come to your question, Lawrence. I love it. Thank you to everyone who's on here. Go ahead and drop the hashtag money codes
Monica.
or hashtag Samantha Blossom. And if you want to connect intimately, personally with Samantha, you can go to facebook.com/Samantha Blossom Brown. And she has a ton of amazing content. And also, obviously, she's a coach and transformation expert. And so we're going to keep going. We're talking about manifestation, intentions, creating whatever it is that you want in your life and in your power. So cool. So let's go right into that question here. Um, in your experience, how my association affects me a lot. I guess he must mean like his association with other people.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, that's how I'm seeing that question. Lawrence, if you want to clarify your question, feel free. But the way I'm reading that is like the people around you, like what they're thinking and what they're talking about.
Hmm. Yeah. So how would you? So we're going to get to that question in just a second, but I just want to make sure that everyone's with us. We're on the same page. So manifestation, we're creating whatever we want with the universe, and we're setting these intentions. We have first step is to write out all of our programming, the things, the limiting beliefs that we're experiencing. Or like we set our intention and then we write down all the things that why we're not going to be able to do that thing.
Right.
And then you cross it out, you replace it with that new piece of code. Okay. I think that's where we got to about.
So I like that you mentioned that. So it's like you replace it with the new code and you repeat the new beliefs over and over until you embody it. But sometimes some are a little sticky. So you might have to prove to yourself, you might have to say like, well, actually, like for me, like I'm like, well, actually, like I graduated from biochem, like you like prove to yourself all the times that you've like succeeded yourself that actually that's the truth, right? The truth is like you're a powerful being, you're successful, you're capable, everything's figure outable. You are able to design and create the reality that you want. You can have it as fast as you want, so it's like you prove to yourself like, well, actually that one day, like I thought about getting that raise and then I got it. Or like that one day I thought about like, like I just wanted to go out with my friends and suddenly it just happened. Like you start to prove to yourself that like asking for what you want and getting it can be really fun and really easy. And so then I want to come back to Lawrence's question because it's so, and I think that a lot of people, like this is what trips people up and slows a lot of people down. Because like you'll peak and you'll have your ascension, right? Suddenly you're like, like, whoa, like I get it, mind blown, and then you go back and then you're like, wait, this person says I can't, or like that person says it's going to be hard. Like, you get all these mirrors back, right? But those are just illusions. And the thing is, like, the powerful thing to do is to support them in reminding them, like, hey, like, that's not really true. Like, you basically coach all the brains around you because those brains are operating on an old operating system. And lovingly and compassionately, you want to get them to see, like, hey, like, that decision, that's not really true. Or, like, the way that you're operating, like, let's break it down. Like, that's not really true. And I didn't do this piece before. So like at first, like I felt like I was almost isolated and I had to like kind of like not have my people around. I had to find a whole new group of people. But as I evolved, I realized like literally it's a 1 hour conversation with someone. It's like 1 hour conversation with some of the people in your tribe. You up level them and then you speed up the momentum so much because then your whole tribe starts to speed up that manifestation process with you. And because all those people are actually extensions of you, it really serves you to take some time to like nourish them into that next level. And the thing is, it's like if in your mind you think that they're not going to listen to you, they're not going to be able to upgrade, it's going to take a long time. That's what the reality is going to be, right? Because you always get what you ask for. If in your mind you're saying, hey, I'm going to have a really fun brunch with this person, talk to them, get them into the next level. I'm being supported on this. This person wants it. I want it. The universe wants it. It can be very fast. It can be very fun, easy. You'll know exactly what to say and it like just happens.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. And can I add on to that, Samantha?
Yeah, of course.
Just like another kind of analogy is like when you're going through your personal development journey and you're reprogramming all of your thoughts, like you become a triangle amongst a bunch of circles.
Yeah.
And so everyone thinks of you as a circle still, but you're a triangle.
Right.
Right. And then you just have to go out into the world and know that there's nothing wrong with them being a circle.
Yeah.
But the more you're able to open their mind to the possibility that they could be a triangle or something else,
Yeah.
that it allows them to see you more as a triangle, and then allows that energy to flow between you and the rest of the universe.
Yeah.
So, just want to throw that in there. LOL, awesome. I feel bad, but I had to separate myself from negative people. That's a good point too.
Yeah.
How do you determine if someone is just like, I don't want to say they're beyond help, but like they just aren't serving you, even if you were to have a really amazing, impactful conversation?
Yeah.
Like, how do you handle that?
And that definitely will happen. And the thing is, it's like the universe is like a dance, right? So like when you're on the same vibration, you'll be in each other's field. But when you're just a different vibration, it's like they can't, like nobody can hang in each other's fields because you're literally in a different dimension. Like your vibrational frequencies are different. And so it's like, like you'll just have to trust that, you can send like some loving prayers to that person that the universe will teach them and guide them. And maybe like 6 months down the road or whenever, it's like, if it's someone you really care about, you want them to be on that same wavelength. You don't have to be the person to teach them, but you can ask the universe to find ways to get that message to them. And they'll ripen in their own time. But we also have to respect like free will of each individual, right? So it's like some people aren't going to be ready to take that leap, and you kind of just have to like hold space. Like you still see them as powerful. That's the only thing. It's like you want to see them as powerful, capable of being able to like up level with you, instead of projecting like, oh man, they're gonna stay there forever, or like those thoughts aren't gonna speed up that process, right? But it also hurts you when you have a negative thought about that person, because that person is made of the same material as you, and that person is some version of you somewhere, right? That's why they're in your atmosphere. So it's like you can, like a buffet, you could be like, oh, I'm not going to eat the salmon today, but you don't need to be like, ew, that salmon's so gross, right? You can just be like, I'm not going to eat that today. I'm just going to eat the things that I want. So that's kind of a really big step with manifestation, because like you can't diss on any aspect of creation, because then you're pushing away the thing that you're trying to attract. Because let's say you're attracting money, right? That money energy internally is made of the same energetics as that person. So you can't be like dissing on that person and like calling in money at the same time, because that means you're also repelling money at the same time, and you're repelling yourself at the same time, because everything's made of the same thing. But you can say, discernment, I only want to focus on this, and just keeping that in your focus instead of being like, this sucks.
Yeah. So just send love to the universe, but also know that you can focus your energy in the direction that you intend to.
Yeah, because you don't want to leak any energy, right? Because it's like, by even focusing or talking about what you don't want, you're basically putting it in your focus, and you're creating it, because your brain is just seeing pictures. Like if I were to say, hey Michael, don't think about a banana, I just said don't think about a banana
Oh.
today. But you're already having those pictures. So it's like it's already happening, right?
Mhm.
So the best thing is to start to project around, because we're always projecting anyways. It's kind of like we're putting spells all the time, whether we want to or not. It's just the nature of it. So if you're going to do that, you might as well be like, this person's really healthy. This person's really wealthy. Like, you start to just like imagine like everyone around you is super positive, really healthy, really wealthy. And then like that becomes like the blessing that you're sending around the people like around you. And you'll eventually start to see like, whoa, like everyone's just like getting healthier and like wealthier, and it's like it's so crazy, but it's just like happening. And this was like a few years ago that epiphany came to me. My mom was like, dude, everyone around you is really great, but like nobody has money, like like why is that? And I'm like, whoa, like I just like didn't even think about it. And I'm like, oh, like my thoughts were like, oh, I feel so bad, like I feel bad charging. I'm like, oh, like I don't know if you can afford this, like let me pay for it. It was like this, like, so like I was thinking that, so I'm like creating that, and I'm attracting people like that, right? But now it's the same people in my world, but actually they're all wealthy, because I've decided to project like wealth onto everybody.
That's
So
awesome.
it's so crazy.
So I want to, number one, if you're listening in right now, we're on here with Samantha Blossom or Samantha Blossom Brown on Facebook. If you'd like to find out more about her and connect with her, you can go to facebook.com/ Samantha Blossom Brown. She has a brand new program coming out. I guess it's not brand new. It's probably been in testing, but
Yeah.
she's like she's going to be launching it very soon. It's called the Money Codes. And if you're interested in that and you want to have a conversation with Samantha about it, go ahead and drop a hashtag money codes below. And she's going to be reaching out to some people and having amazing conversations to see if that might be a good fit for you and for her. So thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're all here. If you're on here, go ahead and drop a hashtag money codes anyway. Oh my goodness. So I want to kind of shift gears a little bit. So now we know a little bit more of the process of how you would send things out into the universe and manifest things. Now, what is the best way for people to really be in tune with what is like feels right for them, what their intuition is?
Hmm. Yeah. And I think that this intuition piece can be a little bit sticky because some people are actually like they're making a decision from a wound, but they think it's intuition, right? Because they'll be like, "Oh, well, this feels really good, so I'm only gonna do this." But actually, they're kind of like it's like spiritual bypass. It's like they're bypassing some deep wound that really wants to be worked through, right? So that does make things like a little bit like interesting on like how to like really like align, right? So let's say you want to work with this coach, but then you're like, oh man, I don't have the money or like whatever. It's like you make up some kind of like excuse on like why you can't do that. And the thing is like sometimes you're taking a bold leap and it's really scary, and that's actually what needs to happen to like break free, like break through like the neural pathways of like how you used to operate. So yeah, and so I guess like that's where if you have a decision, go through that process again of like writing out like all the reasons why you can't, and like crossing out those belief systems and writing out why you can. And then once you've cleaned up like your own wound, then feel into like, is does this still feel like a full yes, like if money wasn't the reason, like if you weren't making some kind of external excuse, like if you were just coming purely from like what you want to experience, would this be a joyful experience? Like, would this be an experience that you actually want? Like, would it actually create value for you?
Mm, that is so. Repeat that question one more time.
Because I feel like what will happen is people will, okay, it's either you're buying into your limitation or you're enrolling into your expansion. And sometimes when you're enrolling into your expansion, you're stepping into the unknown. And when you're stepping into the unknown, there can be fear that comes up. And so some people might be like, "Oh, well my intuition said it's a no," because there's fear that goes there. But it may not be your intuition saying no. That might be a core wound coming up needing to be addressed. So I feel like bring up the wound, clean up the wound first, dissolve it first, and once that's dissolved, then come back to, if money wasn't an issue, like would you say yes to this situation? If um like if you had all the time in the world, would you actually do that? Because I'm just thinking of objections people usually have. It's either money or time, right? Or it's that, my spouse says that I can't. The thing is, it's so important to make a decision that's authentic and sovereign for you because that's your path. So if you're making a decision because you think your spouse doesn't want you to make that decision, the thing is, it's like, it's not going to be good for your spouse either, because you being in your authentic energy, like that's going to be the most important thing for you, for your business, for your family, for your friends, like for all of that. So it's like it's important for you to come into that alignment of taking some bold steps sometimes, but that bold step can feel uncomfortable because you're breaking old neural pathways so that you have space to create something new.
Mm. And so I have a question here, but I think it might be from a few minutes ago. because I think it's a little bit delayed, but how to teaching others to put their desires or passions in their mind. Could you expand on that, Lawrence? Not sure I understand. Um, and while you're expanding on that, possibly, I want to ask you another question, Samantha.
Yeah.
What are these core wounds, and like how do they come up, and how do you, I guess, deal with them?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like even if you had the most perfect family, most perfect parents, they may not know exactly what you needed. They might not know the medicine that was appropriate for you. So maybe you like really wanted this thing and your parents are like, "Oh no, you can't have it." And so it's like you're already learning like, "Oh, I asked for I used my voice, I asked for what I want." And then they said no, you know? So it's like there's all these tiny little micro wounds that are already being created within like our system from like a really young age, right? Or let's say like you come in as a kid and you know you can manifest, you know you can visualize and create, and your parents are like, no, that's gonna be hard. No, we don't have money for that. No, well, you know, and so that starts to run your energy field in a way that's like not authentic for you, but you create a pattern in your system that's like, nope, I can't have what I want, right? And so that's what I would call like a core wound. It's somewhere in your system where you're creating a disconnect from the universe. Like there's a disconnection with yourself or a disconnection from the universe. There's some kind of separation. And so, for instance, when you're paying a lot for a vacation, or you're paying a lot for investing in yourself, or you're paying a lot for a house or car, like there's some belief there that's like, I'm going to give this and something's going to go away. I'm not going to have that anymore. Right. So, like, that isn't really the truth. Like, because that thing is you, you are that thing. Like, there's just energy exchange. There's no lack. Like, nothing's like, you're not losing anything in that process. Right.
Hmm.
But if there's anything in your system that's feeling like heartbroken or like contracting or whatever, like any of those programs is some kind of wound. It's something that's telling you there's some collection of belief systems that says, I am separate from that thing. Like, I'm not loved in this moment. Like, this isn't good enough. Like any of those things, you know, like any way that you're seeing yourself that the cosmos doesn't see you, because the cosmos sees you as perfect no matter what. Like you're in the perfect situation all the time. You're awesome. Like things
This
are
is exactly how it was meant to be.
yeah, things are going awesome for you. This is so fun. This is the best journey ever, you know, but like we'll create these thought patterns of like, like I'm not good. I'm not good enough to have that thing. Like, oh my gosh, that person left me. That means I'm bad or I wasn't good enough. Like, you know, all of those things are like these like core wounds. Like, so it's just like a collection of thought forms and beliefs that are like lodged in your energy field that aren't true, that just need to dissipate so you can get the energy to flow again back into connection and then make a decision from there.
Mm. All right, Lawrence clarified, if a person wants to smoke and they don't have any money, they always seem to get one. So how can you explain to them to use that desire
Oh, yeah.
to make their financial situation better? Nice, Susie. Things are always working out for you. I love that. Um, is there a way for you to answer that question, or
So, like with the cigarette thing, it's like there's no charge, right? There's no emotional charge on why they can't have that thing, right? So, the moment that you feel like I can have this thing no matter what because Cosmos wants me to have it, then it's so fast and easy for you to get that thing. But if you have all these stories around, like, oh, I got to work really hard for that thing, or all these things could go wrong before I get that thing, or, you know, it's like you got to like find the tiny stories, the tiny thought lines that are being created behind that. Like, for instance, like if you have the story running in your mind, like, oh my God, it's really hard to find clients, or like, you know, like nobody's ever going to pay me that much. Like, you always get what you asked for. So if you're thinking that, the cosmos is like, oh, that's what you want. Here you go. The cosmos is neutral. So the universe doesn't see things as like good or bad, you know? So with Lawrence, it's like, you know, if they're thinking about money, like, oh, it's going to be easy. It's going to be fun. It's like, you know, then it's like, it's easy for that to come in. Like I was trimming a tree one day and it was like $20 was rolled up in the leaf, you know? And I was like, whoa, money does grow on trees. Like, how's that happening? Or like, I start doing my laundry and then this like $100 is like flies out. Like, I don't know whose it is, but I'm like, it's mine now, you know? But, you know,
Yeah.
if in your mindset it's just so easy and it just comes in all the time, then that's your reality, because the universe game, like, you are kind of like the mini goddess like in your universe. So you're the one that sets up the rules for how do people treat me in all my relationships, like how do people treat me within my business, how do I treat others in my business. So like all those tiny like mini rules are like set up within like your own system, and it's just, what have you been practicing?
Mm, that is so powerful. We're all the mini goddesses and gods of our universe, and we just get to practice creating.
Yeah,
Mm,
that's
okay. I hope that answers your question, Lawrence.
it.
Uh, if if it doesn't, and you want to get in contact with Samantha, go ahead to facebook.com/ Samantha Blossom Brown to get in contact with her, and maybe you can have a further discussion about that. Um, want, I want to ask you some more questions, and I would love for you to share a little bit about the money codes. What is the money codes? What are they?
Yeah.
And I guess what's the best tip that you can give us or surrounding the money codes?
Yeah. I feel like the best tip around money, if you had anything to take home, is just to always come from the space that everything is expansive and generative, because that's how the universe operates. Like, your body has more than enough energy to be healthy. Like, you always have more than enough money to create anything that you want. So that's like, that means like in your internal mantra, like anytime you're spending money, you're already encoding more money's coming my way. Like, I'm so excited about spending this, more money's coming my way. And like every time money comes your way, it's like, oh my gosh, like I feel so blessed, and I'm blessing that person with more money coming their way, so that everything's always in completion. That like when that, when my client invests in me, in my mind, I'm like, they're going to get a 10K, and, they're going to get at least 10X, like whatever they like invested, so then that becomes the intention field. Like, that's what happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
The clients that are like, oh my gosh, I just paid you, and the next day they already like received that amount back, right? And that's when they're also receiving that intention field. They're trusting that I said that's going to happen. They're like, oh my gosh, that is happening, right? So it does have to do with like a connection, a trust thing, right? Trust creates connection. If there's not trust, there's a break in the energy circuit. That's like, ooh, like doubt. It's like, oh, I don't know if that's going to happen. And then you always get what you ask for. So if you don't know if it's going to happen, it's not going to happen, right? So that would be my main takeaway. And I know that like those are just words, right? So it's like, that's why I created the money codes, because there's so many deep embedded stories within money, like whether it's like family
Mm-hmm.
or the collective consciousness, like the intention of when money was created. So I feel like I created this like very thorough and in-depth process with the money code. So you're doing Kundalini yoga, you're like optimizing the flow of energy in your physical body. You're getting body talk sessions. So like you're also cleaning up the energy field of your body. We're working through like all 7 of your chakra systems. So like some of the videos, like the body talk videos, like one of my clients had, she just had like really bad heart palpitations, and she said she just listened to the video over and over and it just stopped. The thing is, like, for instance, if someone has a heart palpitation, there's a thought in there that Cosmos doesn't think about you. Cosmos is like, oh, you're loved right now. Everybody loves you. Everyone wants you to succeed. You're freaking awesome. Like, this is so good. But if you're having this thought of, I'm not good enough, this isn't working, it's not gonna, it's not gonna work for me. It works for everyone else, but not me. Then those are like the tiny little thoughts that get unwired. And within the money codes, we look through all the vows, like the collection of vows that are usually stored within all 7 chakras, so that you can really see what are potential programs that would be stored in there? And then we get to cross them out, clear them out, and then create all the new codes and the new belief systems. So yeah, so it's kind of it's a 3-month process, and I teach it with Mason Smith. She's like one of my soul sisters in Soulit, which is, this like an incredible quantum healing collective that we've created. It's called Soulit, SOULIT, soulit.co. So check us out there. And so we're both like, creating this, we're just like holding this magical space. Like our intention is like 111 millionaires this year that we want to like create. And so are you one? But yeah, so that's kind of like our thing, that like to us, there's so many leaders out there, and like if they had the resources to do what they really want to create, like we'd have this like incredible planet. So like that's like our thing. Like how can you make making money the same as like brushing your teeth? How can you be like when you're sleeping, money just like comes right into your phone? That it's just like easy. You don't have to be stressed out or worried about it anymore. It's just like it's on autopilot, it's pouring in, and then you can just like go do like the beautiful work that you want to do in the planet,
Yes, I do know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just gotta free up. You gotta free up the energy
Mm-hmm.
to be able to allow.
Yeah.
So it's more of so the money codes. It's just a tool, right?
Right.
And so
yeah.
opening up all of the blockages about money just allows you to live into your full power, into your full huge contribution that you can be to the world.
Totally. And to me, it's like people don't realize like how much money is like almost weaved into and embedded into like every aspect of society, right? It's almost like the blood of society. So when we transmute the energetics of money so that money feels really good, like so imagine like you're part of this project of like infusing light codes into money so that it feels really, really good. And then that energy like gets infused into all these systems. Like you're basically just like blessing that whole planetary system with like that love infusion, So it's like and that's the thing, people don't realize like how powerful they are, and they don't know how powerful their intention field is. But it's like if every time a dollar or a penny or anything came to your field and you start to bless it, and you're like, you're doing incredible things on the planet, like that money will be encoded to only do good things onto the planet. And when enough of us start to do that, we're really going to see some like really cool shifts in the world. Like,
Wow. It feels good already.
Yeah.
It feels good already. Okay. So we're on here with Samantha Blossom Brown, and I have basically 1 or 2 more questions. But if you're interested in working with Samantha or getting on the money code train, putting the link up here. I'll put it in the comments after this, but it's facebook.com/Samantha Blossom Brown, or you can go to soulit.co/money-codes-pre-sale. If you're an energetic, heck yes, you're ready to rock and roll, you love what Samantha is saying, then you would go to www.soulit.co/money-codes-pre-sale. And that's if you're like, I'm ready to rock and roll. But just want to put that out there. Now we have about 10 minutes left, Samantha, and I want to ask you 2 questions.
Awesome.
Number 1, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wish that I had, or that you still want to share?
That's a good question. I think let me trickle back down to your question of what is manifestation.
Okay.
And basically, it's a top-down effect. So it's like first you work in the energy field, and then it becomes an emotion, and then it starts to gravitate things into your reality, and then it comes into physical manifestation. And then if we were to go from another way, it's like your thoughts create the emotions create the actions, and the actions create the results, right? So like your thoughts, those are like If you're thinking really confidently, you're going to feel differently. If you feel differently, you're going to make bolder, braver decisions. If you make bolder, braver decisions, you're going to take bolder, braver action, and then you're going to have different result in your life. And that's why the thoughts are so important, because if you think that you can't, then you're just not even going to try. You're not even going to do that thing. And so then you're never going to get the result of what you want. But if you're really brave and you're like, dude, the universe has my back. The universe wants this for me. The fact that I have this desire means that the universe, cosmos, wants this for me. And everyone around me wants this for me. So then you create this coherence that you want it, your heart wants it, your brain wants it, universe wants it, everybody around you wants you to have it. And then you elevate into that new reality, and it makes it so easy. If, as long as there's no repellent thoughts, that ascension process is really fast. So our job is just to clear out all the micro repelling thoughts.
Wow. If you're listening, those were some gems, some juicy truths up here. If you think it and you feel it, you create the action, and it becomes reality.
Yes.
That's okay. Thank you so much for sharing that. My last question that I have prepared is, what is your greatest contribution to the earth and to the universe?
I would feel that my greatest contribution as I continue to unfold is the joy and the ease and the simplicity of healing, of being in your power, of receiving what you want, that everything is so much easier than we've been making it, and that like we can all live this like super fun life, and every single person's creation is super valid, and there's space for everybody to create what they want. So it's just like, how do you want to do that? And it's like, for me, I have like almost 12 planets in Sagittarius. So for me, it's like, let's have a good time. Like, let's have fun with this. Like, we could be going deep and crying and like purging and all that stuff, but it can still be fun. It still feel light. It's like, or we could be like skyrocketing, like super aligned with it's like we can, there is a level of feeling good, like in the feel good spectrum of emotions, that like us as humans, like we're barely touching, right? And this is why people like gravitate towards drugs and all this stuff, but like we're capable of reaching those feelings like on our own. And I feel like I'm on that cutting edge of supporting us with like dissolving those old belief systems so that we can enter into that next era of like awesome feelings.
That is so amazing. Thank you, Samantha. This has been amazing. Thank you for being the incredible contribution, taking us humans to that next level of joy and fun, creativity and creation. Thank you so much for being on here. If you guys are on here, this has been an interview with Samantha Blossom Brown. You can get in contact with her, facebook.com/Samantha Blossom Brown. And go ahead and drop those hashtag money codes into the comments below. Lawrence, thank you so much for being here. Susie, everyone else that's been here as well. Yeah, remember that all of you are able to be gigantic, enormous, huge contributions to the world, to the people in your life, and to yourself. So with that, I think I'm going to close it out. Samantha, any last words?
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Michael. This has been so fun. And like, I just love the space that you hold. And I'm just like, I'm so grateful to be here. And like, thank you for all the work that you do. And thanks for like making it fun and easy and light and all the things, and your song.
Yay. Thank you so much. I received that. All right, we're gonna call it. Thank you all so much. We still have 4 people on here. If you got any last minute questions, drop in the comments, and then maybe Samantha will go back and answer them later on. All right, thank you. Goodbye.